Alex, I know that you always keep it team focused, but did you allow yourself to appreciate getting an American Conference honorable mention for the way you played this past week?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Found out right before the lift, so got a lot of congratulations on that by the teammates. But I mean, like you said, I'm going to turn it over to my team, and couldn't do it without Blake and the guys up front. I think they played their tails off. Again, Memphis is a great team, right? Their front we knew coming into the game was really good. So just hats off to those guys up front, and especially Jake Polito and Malcolm, and they obviously new guys that we've had coming in. Oh, there's my roommate. No, you're good. You're good. But just hats off to those two and really the rest of the line. They played their tails off. So
Now, since we get a chance to talk to you, I know just 2 Thursdays ago, you found out on service assignment day what you're going to be doing after you commission. Just how special was that moment for you?
yeah, it was really special, and that's something that I've had to kind of adapt to. I know, and I've talked to you guys about coming to the academy. Right, I wasn't super excited, I guess is the word, about the military. It was unknown to me, and it wasn't really a make or break. Like it wasn't something I was, coming to this place for. But I think, as I progressed through here and kind of matured, it really was eye opening to me on how unique and special the opportunity to serve is. And I think Marine Grounds is the perfect, place for me. And I think a lot of the football players would agree with that. It really is like a team, a football team. I know doing Leatherneck, it kind of, I kind of adapted down there, and I really enjoyed the process and the trainings that we did down in Quantico. And it just seems like the perfect fit for me. It really does. And I know we have a good group of guys out of our class going down there, so it's really cool. It really is special, and I'm super appreciative of it.
Lastly, for me, Alex, how have you seen yourself really improve as a runner here in your senior year?
Yeah, I think a lot. I don't know. I think it's more what Coach Cronick and the offense is kind of bringing this year. And he's always been good at spreading around the ball. Obviously, we have a lot of players to feed, right? And Eli and Chat, Blake, obviously Braxton, and I just think he's, kind of just helped me produce a little more, right? By getting me the ball, obviously 26 times. I don't think I've ever gotten the ball that many times in my career, especially here. But I just think he's definitely, put a lot of trust in me. He believes in me more than, anyone on the staff. And I just think, him and Coach Jasper really have been getting me opportunities, which is really all I need, I think. But it definitely helps. Really, really does.
Thanks, Alex.
Also, breaking news: Alex will be named NCAA Athlete of the Week by unanimous vote by the SID office. So I'll be announced in the next 24 hours. Scott Wyckoff.
Hey, Alex, how cool has it been to have this series running in the paper in Pittsburgh about you and Eli and your journey, not only at the Naval Academy, but coming up through the ranks in Mount Lebanon and playing your Pop Warner football?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like I talk about it every day, honestly, at this point. But and I really don't mind. I just think it's such a cool story, and I mean, I know you guys have heard he's one of my best friends, and just the support we have back home, and the support we have here, and just how close we are, and our families are. It's just so special and unique, and I don't think there's really anything quite like it that I've seen, especially here, and really just in all of college football. Right, you don't really see two friends who find so much success in high school and grow so close in high school, and then get the opportunity to go to the next level and kind of do the same thing, right? And obviously it's kind of sad to think about, right? We're probably gonna, obviously Marine ground, but who knows what happens there? A lot can happen in the Marine Corps, and whatever happens with the professionals. So I know I'm just kind of trying to, not take it for granted these last couple of months, because I know it'll be a big change, right? Kind of, separating from him and kind of going off on our own paths. But up until this point, just super grateful, like I've said, and I owe a lot to my success to him. Just being able to lean on him has been a huge help. So.
And do you feel like what you guys have done is kind of giving back to the Naval Academy, creating the awareness for the academy in Pittsburgh and kind of opening maybe some doors to some recruiting down the road?
Yeah, I think so. And I think we already have, right? I know we have a couple Lebo guys. A Lebo guy here now is a plebe, Connor Young, and I think we kind of showed him the ropes and what this place really means. And I know we have a couple good recruits who are still in high school that we've kind of reached out to, and yeah, I think you're right. I think we've definitely opened up doors, but the academy is such an unknown place. It's so much different than, a lot of schools that you get recruited by. And I think, Eli and I taking that leap of faith almost, has definitely helped. And again, I think it helps that we went together. I know I've said that a bunch of times, right? That we both leaned on each other. He likes to take the credit that he committed first and kind of led me to commit later. But yeah, I think, being able to answer some questions. I know, again, Connor Young, bringing him up, I know he had a lot of questions, right? And we were kind of able to answer that for him. And it's very unknown. So, but I think you're right. I think we did, open up some doors, and kind of, give a heads up to the whole community of Mount Lebanon what this place is about.
And it says a lot about not only the community you grew up in, how much the love and desire is for education and football together, but being able to put that together with the Naval Academy, does that make you proud that you're able to kind of add to that whole football personification in Pittsburgh and give it that Navy angle?
Yeah, well, I think Pittsburgh football is the best there is, right? Western PA, it's old school, old fashioned, hard nosed football, and obviously that's what the Naval Academy is, right? Run the triple option. You get 26 carries a game. That's as hard as it gets, right? So I think the football kind of takes care of itself. I think talking to Coach Joe, who's the recruiting coordinator over there in that area, just him growing up in Pennsylvania too, and transition to the Naval Academy. He knows, right? He knows that's where, you can find a lot of hidden gems in Western PA. But I think, right, Mount Lebanon has, blessed Eli and I with, right, just that top tier academics, right? That's such a good school. And, all the teachers I've had there, right, they still check in and support. So you have that, but it is hard, right? They ask they ask a lot from you, day to day, whether it's, middle school through high school. And I know every coach I had in Mount Lebanon was, he was adamant about keeping your grades up, doing well in class, paying attention, sitting at the front row. So I think all that stuff translates.
Thanks, Alex.
Also, I want to shout out Noah Hiles and the Pittsburgh Post Gazette for doing this story and not only doing it but really doing it right and putting it on A1, which is unheard of the paper for 3 straight Sundays. So the past Sunday was series part 1, and then we got the next 2 Sundays as well, which is really cool.
I know my mom was clawing to get a paper. She like we were driving back. She's like, I gotta stop. I was like, what are you stopping for? And she's like, I gotta get a paper. And I was like, oh, we're in the paper. She was like, yeah, front page. It's so funny.
That's awesome. Wyatt.
All right. Alex, the run game's poured in 200 yards in all but one game this season. What does it mean to you as a leader in the offense to see this aspect of the offense be as consistent as it's been to this point?
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think that's what Navy football is, right? We got to rush the ball to win games. And I'm sure Eli would say he'd love to, pass every play, but I don't think that's reality. And for us to find success, right, we got to wear teams out in the ground game. And like you said, it's been a huge help. I think every game we've been up in the rushing game, we've had a chance to win. And so it's been huge for us. And I'm just hoping to see success here in 2 weeks, and I think we will.
In what ways have you seen the offensive line still improve, regardless of what the numbers show when it comes to run blocking and extending drives, putting pressure on defenses?
Yeah, well, I think that was almost a concern at the beginning of the season, right? I know we lost a couple big names last year, and Brent Self and Connor McMahon, and um, Trey Cummings, Javon Bouton. You name 4 guys who have really put a lot into this program who left, and it's hard to replace people like that. But now later in the season, we got 7 guys who can play on the line, and that's a huge help. And when one guy goes down, right, Hulk obviously dealing with something, and he'll be back. But you know, Jake Polito being able to step in, Malcolm stepping up. We got guys who can play and move bodies for us, and really just proud of those guys because they put a lot of work in. I know Coach Guillermo really gets into them and asks a lot from all those guys, and it starts with them. It really does, and they have had, obviously the success we've had this year. It starts with them, so it's really great to see. It really is.
And you guys own the ball for more than 23 minutes in the second half. Does a game like that remind the rest of the country this offense can rely on that ground and pound identity?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've gotten away from that, obviously, with the explosion plays we've been able to produce. But when you do that to teams, right, teams are going to lay off in the back, right? I know safeties have been real slow to come up the field. We haven't really been able to get behind them. So, when they're giving us 5 yard plays, that's how you win a football game, right? And I think that's a testament to how Navy football has been, right? And Even I was exhausted, but you could tell across the line of scrimmage that the defense was worn out, and the game was in control. So it's definitely huge. It's definitely another aspect that teams have to defend for.
Thank you.
Wags.
I want to point out that the very first big blowout feature about Eli and Alex and their long-term relationship was when they were sophomores and first emerged as playmakers. I wrote it, and I can tell you there will be a sequel prior to the bowl game.
Was it on the front page of the paper?
Front page of the sports section.
That didn't count.
Alex, on that note, your quarterback, Blake Horvath, said you're one of the best running backs in the history of Navy football. Was that surprising for him to hear him say that? And what do you think of that?
It was surprising because usually he's trash talking me, Wags, to be quite frank. But no, me and Blake are we're like an old couple. I know Coach Cronick and Coach Jaspers. Yeah, we kind of jaw at each other, but it's all love. And Blake's one of my best friends, and I would like to say he's probably the best quarterback of all time here. I think he's number one just for what he's been able to do and how this program was.
Might want to have a word.
Yeah, seriously. We'll get him on here. We'll probably start arguing here, but no, he's been able to really take control and lead this offense. And I know, our first 2 years, it wasn't where we wanted the program to be, but the way he's been able to grow in confidence and just as a playmaker has been a huge help to where we've been at now. So, yeah, appreciate Blake for that, but it really starts with him. It does. So.
Well, I was looking at your career numbers, and if you finish up strong here in these last couple games, I think you could be top 10 rushing all time at Navy. Would that mean something to you to have your name in the record book? I mean, that'd be something you probably didn't expect when you showed up here from Mount Lebanon.
Yeah, well, there's a fire alarm going off right now, so I'm gonna try. Are you guys getting that over there?
I can hear it. Yeah. Why don't
you better
go ahead and check on it. Make sure if you need to leave. But we'll hang here and then check on what's going on and then come back if you can.
All right. Well, I don't hear anymore. It might have been just a test, but to answer your question, I think I love to look at my dad loves to look at stats, and I think that I would have loved to say hopefully I have
career stats.
What was that?
He sent me a text today with your updated career stats.
Yeah. So I would love to say that I want 3,000 yards or.
May I have your attention, please? A fire emergency has been reported.
All right, I think it is an actual fire alarm, to be honest. So
yes,
I'm gonna
just leave it on. Just leave it on.
Okay.
I take your computer.
Okay. No, I don't have to take my. I'll turn my audio and video off, and I'll figure this out. So.
Okay, sounds good. Just text me. We got a timeout.
Oh, I'm alive. Sorry about
that. All right, let's go. This is the first ever Navy Athletics podcast done in two different locations due to a fire alarm.
I'm glad to be the first.
Wags, I believe it was you, right?
Yeah, he was answering about his marks in Navy history in terms of ranking highly, top 10 in rushing and touchdowns and whatnot.
Yeah, so I just think it's really just what I want to do is make an impact in the win column. I think that I've said that, I've made that pretty clear. Right, whatever it takes to win, and that if that's me blocking 100 times, or if that's me run the ball 26 times, whatever it is, I just want to win. And I think that's awesome. I said my dad loves to look at the stats, and he sends me all the time. But I just in 2 weeks I want to be 10-2 and head to do a bowl game, and I think that's the way I want to finish out my career here.
So in terms of Army-Navy game, you can put full focus on that now. Your last one, what are some of your memories of the Army-Navy game, and how much are you looking forward to your senior year game?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I think it's gonna be a good time. Obviously, going to the game ranks gonna be pretty excited. Lots on the line, obviously. What I remember is two different years and two different mindsets, right? I think the first time I was just kind of happy to be there, taking it in, and I will again this year. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great atmosphere, as it always is. But I think just going to the game, I just want to end in a win, whatever it takes, right? And it's a lot bigger than football. There's a lot of tradition. You know, a lot of antics. You know, I know Army Week and is pretty distracting. It can be, but gonna try to have fun with that. Obviously, my last one. But just want to do whatever it takes to end in a win. I think that's gonna be important. Just enjoying it, having fun, and doing whatever it is for my team that I can do.
I think that's my three.
I lost track to the fire alarm. My bad. Damn, Nolan.
Alex, what are these next 12, 13 days like for you and the rest of your program, knowing that you have this long layoff before the game that you've been training for since you arrived here in Annapolis?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an important, couple of days. Obviously, it'll be first day of practice. I know we installed a little bit a couple weeks ago for the bye before Memphis. And the game plan looks like a lot of fun, especially for me. I know it's always a little different compared to normal games, just because obviously we defend the triple option all off season, so we're pretty accustomed to that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a little different, a lot of moving parts, but just it's going to be important to prepare, right? Take every day, not waste a single rep. It's going to be huge. But it's just details, right? It's going to come down to details. It's going to come down to who wants it more. And that's really who's going to win the game. So records don't really matter at that point, right? It matters. It's really just who comes down and who comes down to the details and who wants it more. So
Knowing that you're guaranteed two more games of football, how are you trying to live in the moment?
yeah, just kind of reflecting, I think is huge, and just so grateful to be able to play this game at a high level, and find success these past couple seasons, and obviously make friends along the way. I consider the guys I've been playing football with for the past 4 years my best friends. Really, just grew so close to a few guys in particular, but really the whole team in general, and just gonna try to take it easy, take it slow with those guys. 'Cause I know, after the football season, we all kind of, separate, which sucks. But obviously, I'll be friends with those guys for the rest of my life. But just gonna take it slow, take it one day at a time. Enjoy it. Try to attack every day, every practice. Not complain. Be grateful. And live in the moment. So
Lastly, for me, Alex, Grandpa gave you any congrats after the way you played against Memphis?
my grandpa.
Yeah.
Did you say? Yeah, he did. I saw him. He was at the game. Got to see my dad's side for Thanksgiving. I was home over the weekend, and it's been a while since I saw them. But yeah, I just got to talk to him on the phone. And yeah, he gets so excited and emotional, and it's so funny. Like, obviously, I don't see him during the game, but and he's I mean, he's played sports his whole life, and doesn't show much emotion to that kind of stuff. But he definitely gets emotional on the field when he gets to come to the games. I know my parents will always look over him after I score, and he definitely gets emotional, which is awesome. But just both sides of my family, lots of support from them, and love them to death. But honestly, they get more excited for the games than I do at this point. So I'm just trying to make them proud.
Thank you.
Scott Wyckoff.
What's it like, Alex, for your parents, not only, supporting you and getting to your games, but getting to your sister's games at John Carroll and also your sister's high school games?
Yeah, I mean they put a lot of time and effort into us kids, and they always have, right? I know, and even my sisters, right? Obviously, Taylor's busy with college. She's a freshman, and she's kind of finding her way around there. And Addison's her first year in high school, and she's doing really well in lacrosse and golf. She's actually golfing now, so and they really make a lot of time for me as well. But they're just so proud of us kids, and I think they did a great job. And they'll hear it from all their friends back home, and all the friends here that they have in Annapolis, that they just did such a good job at raising us kids. They spent a lot of time throughout our youth, just trying to make everything, and whether it's trials, practices, or games. And I just love them to death. And whatever they've done for me, I'm going to try to take that when I have kids and do the same, if not more, for them. So.
And what is it about your class? Last year, 6, 7 games into the year, you faced adversity. You came out the other end. This year, you've done the same thing. What is it about this group that's able to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's our superpower, is just overcoming adversity. I know Coach K said today in the weight room, right? When we face a challenge, we just get better from it. And I think that's right? It's okay to make mistakes. You're going to. It's just how you bounce back, right? You can either fold and put your head down and salt, but or you can get back to work and try to learn from it and get better. And I really think that's what we do, right? And you go through adversity every day here, right? Whether you fail a test, right? You fail an inspection, you get yelled at, you don't shave, whatever it is, right? We deal with adversity all day long. And so when it comes to the football field and we're down, we've been there, we've done that. So um, I just think that's who we are. That's how we succeed. That's how we, outplay teams. So
Thanks. Have a good week.
I'm gonna go to Wags.
Wanted to ask you about Brandon Chapman because he sometimes is the overlooked weapon in the offense. Everybody talks about Blake and you and Eli, and Chat just kind of goes about his business. And a lot of times he may not touch the ball. He does a lot of blocking, and he does it well for a guy his size. But we got a guy doing a feature on Chat, and I just wanted your thoughts on what he's contributed. And I know again he isn't considered one of the big three, but he's been a key contributor.
yeah, I mean, I think if there was a big forge, that would be right there with us. And really, he does whatever we ask him to. Like you said, he runs the ball, he blocks. He really does it all. And I just think he's one of those kids who's overcome so many challenges, whether that's here or through his youth. Right, he's undersized. That's obvious, but I mean, we ask him to go block like these 240-pound backers, and he doesn't flinch. Like it's unbelievable. And I know the coaches praise it a lot. Like he hears it all the time just how proud we are of him. And I just think, it gives kids his size hope, right? That, he can make plays, right? He can go block these big guys. And it's really special what he does. And I think he has a whole nother level to our offense, right? With downfield playmaking, right? When he has the ball in his hands, he's going to make someone miss, right? He always does it. I've never seen the first guy tackle the kid. And again, like I said, he goes in there and shoots his bullet when he goes to block and load linebackers. So it's just unbelievable, and just the heart he has for the game and his teammates is unparalleled. So a lot of props to Chat.
So this is always the case, and I'm going to be asking Coach Cronic as well. But in this game against Army, whoever wins the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball usually wins the game. Last year, we were able to do that. You established the run and ran the ball effectively, and Landon Robinson led the way as you all shut down their rushing attack. What's key to doing that again? And do you agree that that's going to be ultimately the determination of the outcome?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that's really the whole deal with any other game, right? I think right when we have success rushing the ball, we find success throughout the game. And I always think, like you said, the Army Navy game is really just fought in the trenches. It's going to be two rushing offenses that rush the ball well. I know we're both 1-2 in the conference for rushing, and I just think whoever's going to be more effective is going to win the game ultimately. But it's really bigger than right. We got to be disciplined on special teams and defense and offense. Penalties are going to be in factor. And just all the details, right, that come together to win the game. But rushing will be a big part of it for sure.
Now that you've seen how much Army players can talk trash after the Air Force game and the UTSA game, are you worried about?
We're not going to answer that. We're not going to answer that.
I was going to say.
Next question. Next question. I'll go to Wyatt Kopelman.
Hey, Alex, I know you just talked about Chapman, what he's done so effectively, making men miss. But how do you describe what allows Eli Heidenreich to do either with or without the ball to make explosive plays happen? He's had some big catches over the last 2 games here.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's obvious what he's been able to do. He's got the size, the speed, the talent, and he just does it effectively. You just watch him play without the ball too. It's unbelievable what he's been able to do. But obviously, it's not a surprise to me. I've been watching him since the first grade. Run all over people. So again, he brings another level that defenses have to prepare for, and it helps us a lot on offense. So.
What do you remember most about seeing him play football all the way back in elementary school? What stand out to you about that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of memories of him playing. Honestly, probably couldn't pick one. I just, remember him, being a kid who I remember was going to be really good when we got older, and someone I always, tried to compete with and, kind of hang with. I know he was a little bit older than I was back then, but I just, just able to make plays, right? And I know every time he's been on the field, they try to give him the ball. That's through youth till now. So it's hard to pick out one memory. I just remember high school. Every time you get the ball, you'd hold your breath, right? Because he was able to make those big plays like he still does now. So just a super special player in general.
And what are some of the best things you saw the defense do as it held Memphis scoreless in the second?
Yeah, I mean, when the defense is rolling, it helps us a lot, right? And I think the defensive backs have been lights out the past couple weeks. They've really stepped up, and I know there's a lot of young guys back there, but when they're kind of strapping up defenders and receivers, right, that gives our front seven to, that gives them time to eat. And obviously those guys are dangerous, and Landon and Luke and Adam Clank, the things that they're able to do to get to the quarterback when they have time is unbelievable. So, when the back four are working hard and doing their job, it gives us give the front seven time to do their thing. So I think just being able to watch them, and obviously we have no control when we're on the sideline watching them, but the confidence that the offense has had watching them has been a lot. It's been a lot better, and it's helped us offensively as well.
Thank you.
Got about 3 minutes. I'm going to ask you a quick one. The Memphis game, third quarter, you got the opening kick and just had a unbelievable drive. Just ground and pound. Took almost the entire third quarter. You get to the 1 yard line and we lose a fumble.
Yeah.
And then Memphis, the defense gets the ball right back 3 and out. And then you take the ball over about the 50 and basically do the same thing again. This time you score. What does that say about the team? As far as you didn't hang your heads, despite the unbelievable drive because of the fumble, you get the ball back, and in the next drive, you score, both offensively and defensively. What does that say about this team?
Yeah, I mean, I just think we were able to overcome adversity like we've been talking about. I think we've been in that position before. We knew Memphis was a good team. We knew they were just going to lay down for us. And right, we had an opportunity to score. Again, it was a close game. It was like a 3-point game at that point, or whatever it was. And I think we were pretty confident in our defense at that point. They were playing really well. And so we just needed to execute, right? We were just shooting ourselves in the foot, right? It was nothing they were doing. So all we had to do was do our job effectively and focus on the details, which ended up working out for us, obviously. But yeah, it was complimentary at that point, right? So.
Thank you. All right, that's it for Alex. We'll be back with Coach Chronic at 2:30. Thanks, Alex.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.